stories of women whose blood became their curse, the 12 most inbred women in history, difficult, sometimes creepy, but real. Imagine your life was decided before you were even born. Who you'd be with, how many kids you'd have, how you'd die. And it's not because you chose anything, it's because your fate was decided a long time ago, because your parents and grandparents were too close to each other. For years, royal families have been marrying each other, not out of love. It was to keep power, to keep the money, the crowns, the lands from going to the wrong people. But there was a price to pay, and it was the women who paid, with their bodies, their health, their children. Marie-Louise of Orléans was a princess who began drinking at the age of 14. Her father married her cousin, the daughter of Louis XIV's mistress, and she herself was married off to a cousin. Their children died one by one. Marie-Louise couldn't cope. At 14, she started drinking, not for fun, but to numb her pain, loneliness, and inner suffering. She wrote letters asking for help, but no one listened. She died young and forgotten. Caroline Bonaparte, sister of Napoleon Bonaparte, daughter of Carlo Buonaparte and Letizia Ramolino. In 1708, her husband, Marshal Joachim Murat, became King of Naples, and Caroline took the throne with him. Her brother made her a monarchical figure, not by choice, but by calculation. The blood that Napoleon wanted to make a new royal dynasty flowed in her veins, but she was still hers to too many within the family. Their children were born weak, sick, dying, but the family pretended to have everything under control. After the fall of Napoleon, she fled into exile and died far from her homeland, forgotten, though she once held an entire kingdom in her hands. Lorraine Whittaker is the tragedy of an ordinary American family. This story is not about palaces. It happened in a simple village in the USA. The Whittaker family lived isolated lives and generations married each other. Lorraine is the mother of Tim, a boy who doesn't speak, can't read, and has a peculiar face. He barely understands what's going on. This is not ancient history. This is today, right now. Inbreeding isn't just for kings. It's around, and it's scary. Maria Anna of Austria, daughter of Emperor Ferdinand III and Maria Anna of Spain, who was his cousin. Her life was a living reminder of what happens when the same name is repeated too often in a genealogy. Born underdeveloped, Maria Anna could not walk properly and hardly spoke at all. She had only 2 unique great-grandparents, not 8 as there should be. She spent most of her life in the shadows, in closed chambers, so no one could see what the divine blood had led to. She died at 62, leaving no descendants, but her life remains in history as a tragic reminder of the cost of dynastic stubbornness. Maria Louisa was a princess who was sold to Napoleon. Maria Louisa only had 4 different great-grandparents, half as many as there should be, all because her parents were double cousins. This was the norm in the Habsburg family. When she was 18, she was married to Napoleon, her father's enemy. It wasn't a marriage, it was a political deal. She bore him a son, but she felt like a stranger. She was not loved in France or at home in Austria. She was like a ghost, wearing beautiful dresses, but with empty eyes. Isabella II was a girl born to an uncle and a niece. She became Queen of Spain when she was only 3 years old, born from the marriage of an uncle and niece. Even then, she had poor health and frequent illnesses, and when she grew up, she was married off to an almost equally close relative. She had 11 children, but only 5 survived to adulthood. Historians say that the father of these children may not have been her husband. The marriage was cold, loveless. Isabella lost her throne, left alone. But the cause of her unhappiness was not the people, not the wars. It was a tangled and too close-knit bloodline. Mary I was a queen who lost her mind. Mary was a good religious girl, but she had bad luck. Her parents were related, and then she was given in marriage to her uncle. It was according to the rules of the dynasty. She had children, but half of them died when she was a baby. And then Maria started to get sick. First, she started whispering to herself. Then she started screaming. She was hidden from people. At the end of her life, she barely knew who she was. She didn't lose her throne, she lost herself. Mummies 317A and 317B were two of Tutankhamun's dead daughters. They had no names, just numbers. They were found in Tutankhamun's tomb. They were his daughters, from a wife who was, his sister. In Egypt, it was customary for pharaohs to marry their sisters to keep the divine blood pure. But the gods didn't help. The girls died before or just after birth. Their bodies were deformed. Even the pharaohs couldn't defeat nature. Princess Alexia was a girl from a royal family where everyone was related to each other. She was born already in the 20th century, in 1965. Her parents, the King of Greece and the Queen of Denmark, were related twice, both second and third cousins. The family seemed happy, but Alexia's health was poor. Fatigue, colds, constant illness. There was nothing the doctors could do. It was in the genes, and the roots of these problems, in the palaces, where they once decided, it is better to marry a sister than a stranger. Maria Antonia was a girl who looked like a sibling child. Even among the Habsburgs, her story stood out. Her lineage was like a circle. Parents were brother and sister, grandparents too. Scientists say she was genetically similar to a sibling child. She had severe pain, dizziness. She didn't live to be old enough. She was forgotten. But her body is still being studied to see how far the lust for power can go. Cleopatra II was a queen who had her entire family as kin. Parents were brother and sister. Grandparents are also grandparents. She married a brother herself, and then another. And so it went on for generations, to keep the power in the family. She was a strong woman. She ruled alone. But there was a weariness inside her. She had dead children. There were illnesses. Her body couldn't cope. But she held on. To the end. As if she knew someone had to end this terrible cycle. Kimberly is a girl from Australia who was born in isolation. It happened recently. The family lived far away from people, and for generations they married each other. When the authorities found out the truth, were shocked. Investigations began. Arrests. The conclusion was that no child should be left behind in this family. Kimberly was born with severe disabilities. She has difficulty speaking, difficulty moving. It's not her fault. She was just born in a place where they forgot that a child is a person, not a project. These women lived in different times, some in palaces, some in simple homes, but they all had one thing in common. Their blood decided their fate. Want to know more? Subscribe. More true stories in the next videos, because the past is not a fairy tale. It's a mirror, and in it, it's us.